Have you ever stopped to think about what a bulletproof vest and a simple plastic water bottle have in common? Or what connects the clothes you're wearing right now to the actual DNA inside your cells? Well, the answer is this kind of hidden giant of our world, the polymer. They are quite literally the building blocks of modern life, and today we're going to break down exactly how they're built.
Okay, so let's kick things off with a little puzzle. Look at what we've got here. A plastic bottle, some synthetic clothes, and the DNA that makes you, well, you. Now, on the surface, they seem completely unrelated, right? One's hard and rigid, one's soft and flexible, and one is the very code of life. But there is a deep, fundamental, chemical idea that links all of them. Any guesses what it is?
And the answer is, they are all made of polymers. Now, that might sound like a simple answer, but that one word, polymer, unlocks a huge and absolutely fascinating field of chemistry. So in this explainer, we're going to dive into what that really means, starting from the very smallest piece of the puzzle.
To really understand a polymer, we have to start small. We have to start with its single, smallest component, the monomer. This is ground zero. This is where it all begins.
So a monomer, and the name comes from the Greek mono, which means one, and mer, which means part, is just a single, small molecule. But here's the thing. The crucial part about a monomer isn't what it is, but what it can do. Its real power is its potential to connect to others. It's basically like a single Lego brick, designed specifically to connect with other bricks to build something way, way bigger.
Yeah, this Lego analogy is honestly the perfect way to picture this. A single Lego brick all by itself is just one little piece. But it's got those studs on top and the tubes on the bottom, right? It has that built-in ability to connect. That's a monomer, one single unit, just ready and waiting to build something amazing. All right, so if a monomer is our single Lego brick, how do we actually build our masterpiece? Well, that brings us to the process, the action that turns all these little individual parts into a massive interconnected chain. And that process is called polymerization. This is the chemical reaction that forges the bonds between our monomers, linking them up into a long repeating chain. Now, there are a few different ways this can happen chemically, but the end result is always the same. You get a long chain. It's the clicking of the Lego bricks as they all snap into place.
The process itself is super intuitive when you think about it. You start with a big pile of individual monomers, or Lego bricks. Then, some kind of chemical reaction kicks things off, and they just start linking up one by one. Click, click, click. And before you know it, that chain gets incredibly long, forming the backbone of a whole new material.
You know, that brings up a pretty interesting question. We've got our single unit, the monomer, and we've got the final super long chain, which we call a polymer. But what about that in-between stage? Is there a name for a chain that's, just getting started?
Yeah, there is. It's called an oligomer. Coming from the Greek oligo, which means few, an oligomer is just a short chain of monomers. It's more than one brick, but it's not a full polymer yet. Think of it as just a few Legos clicked together. It's a work in progress, on its way to becoming that final model.
Okay, so now that we've seen how these chains get built, let's look at the finished products. And this is where we hit a really common point of confusion for anyone studying chemistry. The subtle but super important difference between a polymer and another big-sounding word, a macromolecule.
Let's start with the official definition of a polymer. It's a large molecule that's made of many repeating structural units, our monomers. And that word, repeating, is the absolute key to everything. It's the same Lego brick used over and over and over again to form a long, predictable chain.
But hold on a second. Did you catch that? The definition of a polymer literally used the word macromolecule. So what gives? Are they the same thing? Can you just use the terms interchangeably? The short answer is no, and understanding why is actually crucial.
A macromolecule is simply a term for any very large molecule. That's it. Macro just means large. It's a really broad category that's based entirely on size and molecular weight, not on its internal structure.
This is what really clears it all up. A polymer is a specific type of macromolecule. To be called a polymer, a giant molecule absolutely must be made of those simple repeating monomer units. A macromolecule, on the other hand, is just the general classification for any giant molecule. So, for example, DNA is a gigantic molecule, so it's a macromolecule. But since it's built from repeating nucleotide units, yep, it's also a polymer. It fits in both categories.
And this brings us to the single most important takeaway, the one sentence you need to remember. All polymers are macromolecules, but not all macromolecules are polymers. It's just like how all squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares. A polymer is just a more specific, more defined term.
All right, we have covered a lot of ground and some kind of tricky terminology, so let's do a super quick recap just to put all these pieces together and make sure they stick.
This table lays out the whole journey perfectly. We start with the monomer. That's our single Lego brick. You click a few of them together, you get an oligomer. Once you have that long, complete chain of repeating bricks, you've got yourself a polymer, our finished Lego model. And finally, macromolecule is the biggest, broadest category of all. It describes any giant object, which could be our Lego model, but it could also be something totally different.
So there you have it. You go from one single, simple molecule all the way up to these massive chains that form pretty much everything around us. And the amazing part is, just by changing the monomer, or tweaking how the chains link together, you can get this incredible range of properties, from the hard plastic in a helmet to the super stretchy material in a rubber band. Understanding these basics is the key to unlocking the secrets of material science.
And that leaves us with one final thought. We now understand the fundamental rules of how these incredible materials are assembled. The only question left is, what will we build next? What new problems can we solve by clicking these tiny building blocks together in a totally new way? That is the exciting future of polymer chemistry.